who have no interest in this kind of thing. They just want to hate. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. They hate Trump. I don't think it's a good place for your mind to be, by the way, to hate anybody. Hate what they do, policies. I mean, I could list things I hate about Trump from like making fun of McCain. You know, I mean, right off the bat, I really, really hated that. And I'm not even a Republican, but like, you know, I mean, people.
No, but you're decent.
Well, people, you know, if you get shot down, you're not a hero. If you get captured, he got shot down. Like, wasn't it? Like he was trying to get shot down, or wasn't when his plane hit the ground and he broke his leg, he wasn't trying to get away. It was so offensive, but I don't hate him. And if you let yourself into that hate, then everything that happens, you only see through the one partisan lens. So that's where your thing is about the signal thing, the worst thing that ever happened. You're right. It's not the worst thing that ever happened.
In this episode of Club Random, Bill Maher sits down with former Can anchor Chris Cuomo. And yeah, it gets real. Right out the gate, they dive into what it's like trying to clear your name in an age where the media treats controversy like a blood sport. Cuomo talks about life after Con, growing up under the Cuomo political dynasty, and the toll of being in the middle of nonstop scandal. But let's be honest, this episode really shines when they start unpacking the Trump effect. You know, the guy who turned politics into pro wrestling, thrives off chaos, and somehow keeps walking through fire without a scratch. Bill and Chris don't hold back. They break down how Trump's not just surviving the outrage machine. He is the outrage machine. He is the outrage machine. From his Teflon grip on the MAGA base to how he weaponizes authenticity in a way no Democrat can touch, they ask the hard question. Why can't anyone else do what he does? They touch on everything from the defund, police backlash to America, losing its sense of humor, but it all keeps circling. Back to Trump, the man, the myth, the political anomaly. By the end, it's clear. Love him or hate him. Trump has completely rewired the way America thinks about leadership, loyalty, and truth. Oh, and there's also a bunch of banter about fatherhood, forgiveness, and punching people in the face. So, yeah, buckle up.
Yes, and that's why MAGA is immune, because they can only do it to their own. Donald Trump is truly the Teflon Don. The media cannot take him down.
No.
Because his people reject the basis of the criticism. There's an old expression, you know, that if you have to decide whether or not to care about what someone says about you, the way you start is, well, who said it? What do I think of them? And people have made that assessment about the media. And they've said, you know what? I don't care what you say about him, because I think that you allow a lot worse. And I think you're kind of what you say he is. And that's why they're not going to get Hegseth out.
No.
But they would be if it were the Biden administration. They can cancel all day on the left. They cannot take out members of MAGA. Trump would have to go bad on the guy. It would probably have to be a federal case to make him even think about it. And there is a power in that for him. Do I think he's handling this the right way? No, but part of the reason he's not handling it the right way is that he doesn't respect the criticism. He knows he can just say, The Atlantic is a failed magazine.
Right.
This guy sucks.
Right.
They all suck.
Yeah.
Okay, but is what he's saying true? Well, who cares? They suck. And we killed the Houthis. That's good. And they move on if they're smart. They just move on and the media will move on too.
Maher and Cuomo don't pull any punches here. They both agree cancel culture has become this warped ritual where people get judged by the absolute worst moment of their lives and nothing else. And let's be real, this hits especially hard on the political left. If you're one of their own and you mess up even once, you're toast. No forgiveness, no context, just a one-way ticket to exile. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, the MAGA crowd, they roll deep. Trump could practically juggle federal indictments while walking through a hurricane, and his people would still have his back. Loyalty over everything. It's not even about right or wrong anymore. It's about whose team you're on. That's the game now. And they also talk about the comedy world, where the rules are completely different depending on who the target is. If you make a joke about Trump or some right-wing figure, you're a hero. But if you crack the same kind of joke about someone on the left, suddenly you're problematic, offensive, or just straight up canceled. It's that selective outrage that's driving both of them nuts. The idea that you can joke about fat people racists, rednecks, or Republicans all day, but the minute you turn the punchline towards someone in a protected category, it's game over. What they're really saying is this: we've lost the plot. Comedy's supposed to be a pressure release valve, a way to deal with real-world tension. And if we're going to pretend some groups are totally off limits while others are open season, that's not progress. That's censorship disguised as morality.
I mean, Mayor Adams that name is pretty much in the
I don't
mud.
think Trump did him any favors with how that deal was structured. I was happy to hear that the amicus brief, that the person who was brought in to look at it, who's a very legitimate person, said these charges should be dropped. It shouldn't be that, let's see what happens after the election. It's not fair that Trump is trying to keep those hooks in Mayor Adams like that. I know my brother's running against him, but that's how I feel. I think the federal indictment was weak sauce, and I think this deal by Trump was manipulative. And you either drop the charges, you don't.
Okay, weak sauce. You talking about the actual thing itself, the deal with Turkey? Well,
Yeah.
right. I
It's like
agree.
upgrades.
I agree. I thought the same thing. I'm like, of all the things politicians do,
Yeah.
this guy, I mean, of all the places, Turkey.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, was it completely right that Mayor Adams will now say, oh, I don't think there was, I read about it. There's not, I know what the Kardashians say about the whole Armenian genocide, but you know what? I've looked into it. It was over 100 years ago. All right, it was Turkey. Can we just all enjoy Thanksgiving? Okay, it wasn't the greatest thing to do, but like the
Federal charges?
again, like he and Trump bonded
Mm-hmm.
over. It's funny that we bond left and right over what the scalp hunters do to both of us.
Yeah. And it's the parties playing to their
God
worst instincts of those
damn it.
fringes.
What?
It's the fringe. The fringe dominates our dialogue,
Right.
dominates our process. And you're either, look, and then you get really pissed off when you see the hypocrisy of it.
I
What
mean,
is that?
there's I'm roofing you, Chris.
No,
Are you
what is
kidding?
that that's in there?
It's every show I have to explain this.
Well, it's a
Jing.
dropper bottle.
Jing, I drink it.
Now, even though both of them have plenty of criticism for the guy, they also keep it real about why Trump is still such a dominant force. It's not because of policy. It's not because of intellect. It's because he knows how to connect with people on a gut level in a way almost no one else in politics can. He speaks straight to the gut, not the brain, and that gut-level connection is what makes him bulletproof. They describe him not as a solution, but more like a political virus. He's not fixing the system. He's infecting it. And weirdly enough, that's exactly what his supporters love. He's the chaos candidate who shows up to blow up the machine, not fix it. And in the minds of his base, that makes him a hero. And look, say what you want about Trump's honesty, but there's no denying the man is authentic. He doesn't play the polished politician role. He says what he wants, however he wants, and people eat it up. In an age where most candidates sound like they were grown in a lab by consultants, Trump sounds like a guy yelling at the TV in his bathrobe, and somehow that makes him relatable. Maher makes a killer point here too. Trump doesn't respect media criticism because his base doesn't either. When Ken or The Atlantic comes after him, his response is basically, so what? They suck. And to his supporters, that's enough. They don't care about the facts. They've already decided the media is the enemy. So when Trump gets attacked, it just proves to them that he's doing something right in a weird way. Trump has flipped the rules of political gravity. Normally, scandals bring you down. For him, they reinforce the myth. The man isn't just running for president. He's starring in the ultimate reality show, and the media keeps giving him free airtime, love him or hate him. That's real power. And every other politician is playing catch up.
You know, why was that guy canceled? Why was she canceled? Something happened, right? And these people move on. I don't think it's an unfair level of scrutiny. I don't know what the mechanism would be. I don't know how to do it, but I do think that if you are in the scalps game, you should be open and investigated as well. And I know that a lot of the brothers and sisters in the media will say, well, you're going to have a chilling effect on journalists. It depends on what you're reporting on. If you're reporting on why they invoked the state secrets privilege in the litigation about the migrants that they sent out of here, then go deep and take it where it leads. But if you're just trying to get the guy for his sex life, if you're just trying to get him for something, cancel him, then why shouldn't that be done to you? And then see how ready you are to find that relevant the next time. Because we didn't used to report on that. I can't tell you
Sex
how many
life, are you talking
personal.
about your brother?
No,
Oh.
because his party has rules. His party has rules. You may not like the rules, but in the Democratic Party, an allegation is enough. And then they cancel you. And he had like dozen. You know what I mean? So that's the rule of his party.
But
Now, if you've ever watched how the media treats public figures, especially when there's even a hint of scandal, you already know the game. It's not about justice. It's not about truth. It's about taking someone down, making a headline out of it, and moving on to the next target before anyone has time to even fact check the fallout. Cuomo and Maher break this down like two guys who've both been through the fire. Cuomo's not just giving some outsider opinion here, he's lived it. Fired from Ken, dragged in the press, and now trying to claw his way back while half the country barely remembers what he even did. And that's kind of the point. The media builds you up just to tear you down, then shrugs. When the smoke clears like, wait, what was that all about again? Bill chimes in with this brutal but dead. On take, people don't want accountability, they want a pound of flesh. The outrage machine doesn't sleep. It doesn't care about context. It doesn't wait for facts. And when the facts do come out too late, damage done. The crowd already moved on to the next cancellation. And look, they're not saying all media is evil or that public figures should get a free pass. But they are calling out the toxic cycle of public shaming that's more about clicks than clarity. It's performative justice. It's digital mob rule. And they both know how fast the same people who cheer your rise will cheer your fall and forget you ever existed 6 months later. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me today. If you got something out of this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps way more than you think. And if you're into real talk, media analysis, and cutting through the noise with no filter, make sure to subscribe to the channel. New content is always on the way, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss what's next. Appreciate you being here. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.